O Lord, rebuke me not in thine anger, neither chasten me in thy hot displeasure. Have mercy upon me, O Lord, for I am weak. O Lord, heal me. For my bones are vexed. My soul is also sore vexed. But thou, O Lord, how long? Return. O Lord, deliver my soul. O save me for thy mercy's sake. For in death there is no remembrance of thee. In the grave who shall give the thanks? I am weary with my groaning. All the night make I my bed to swim. I water my couch with my tears. Mine eye is consumed because of grief. It waxeth old because of all mine enemies. Depart from me, all the workers of iniquity. For the Lord hath heard the voice of my weeping. The Lord hath heard my supplication. The Lord will receive my prayer. Let all mine enemies be ashamed and sore vexed. Let them return and be ashamed suddenly. Psalm 6 opens with a tone of desperation, making it one of the first penitential psalms recorded by David. It's not merely a psalm of praise or some honest and deeply emotional cry for mercy. David begins in Psalm 6-1 with these haunting words, O Lord, do not rebuke me in your anger or discipline me in your wrath. Immediately, we sense David's awareness of his guilt and his fear of divine judgment. He recognizes God's righteousness and holiness, and he knows that he has sinned, but instead of hiding, David comes humbly to the throne of grace. In verse 2, David continues, Have mercy on me, Lord, for I am faint. Heal me, Lord, for my bones are in agony. Here we see that David is not only emotionally distressed, his physical body is affected as well. The Hebrew word used for faint implies being worn out, weak, and overwhelmed. This verse shows the deep connection between the soul and the body. When the soul suffers, often the body suffers too. David's pain is holistic spiritual, mental, and physical. Verse 3 brings us deeper into his turmoil. My soul is in deep anguish. How long, Lord? How long? These 4 words, how long, Lord, echo throughout Scripture and are familiar to many who have faced prolonged suffering. They are the words we whisper in moments of waiting for healing, for deliverance, for peace. David is not questioning God's power, but rather expressing the human cry for relief and understanding. He knows God hears him, yet he longs for God to act swiftly. In verse 4, David pleads, Turn, Lord, and deliver me. Save me because of your unfailing love. He shifts his appeal from his own need to God's character. This is important. David isn't saying, Save me because I deserve it, but rather, Save me because of who you are. The Hebrew word for unfailing love is ches, a rich term meaning covenant, loyalty, mercy, and steadfast love. David anchors his hope not in his worthiness, but in God's faithful nature. David then makes a startling statement in verse 5. Among the dead, no one proclaims your name. Who praises you from the grave? This verse, isn't, a theological statement denying the poetic language expressing David's fear of being cut off from praising God publicly in the land of the living. David's heart is so devoted to God that the thought of not being able to glorify him grieves him deeply. In verse 6, David describes the intensity of his sorrow. I am worn out from my groaning. All night long, I flood my bed with weeping and drench my couch with tears. This is one of the most vivid descriptions of anguish in the Psalms. The image of a man crying so much that his bed is soaked reveals the emotional weight. David cares. He's not hiding behind strength. He is broken and vulnerable before God. And that vulnerability is a powerful form of worship. By verse 7, David says, My eyes grow weak with sorrow. They fail because of all my foes. Not only is David overwhelmed internally, but his enemies also surround him. Often, when we are in our lowest moments, it feels like the attacks in spiritual warfare, criticism, or even betrayal. Yet, this psalm shows that our refuge in such times is not in retaliation or isolation, but in bringing our pain honestly before the Lord. A shift occurs in verse 8. Away from me, all you who do evil, for the Lord has heard my weeping. This moment is vital. David's faith breaks through his anguish. He declares victory even before he sees the deliverance. This is what it means to trust in God's timing and goodness. He says confidently that the Lord has heard his cry. Faith allows us to praise while we wait. Even when circumstances haven't changed, David's assurance in God's hearing changes him. Verse 9 reinforces that faith. The Lord has heard my cry for mercy. The Lord accepts my prayer. These words are personal and profound. David doesn't say maybe, or if he says, has, and accepts. He understands the heart of God, that he is not distant or disinterested, but compassionate and responsive to those who seek him earnestly. Finally, in verse 10, David declares, All my enemies will be overwhelmed with shame and anguish. They will turn back and suddenly be put to shame. This is not gloating, but a statement of justice. David entrusts his enemies to the hand of God. He doesn't seek revenge. He leaves that to the Lord. And in doing so, David models the heart of a true worshiper, one who brings his pain, his praise, and his enemies before God in faith. Psalm 6 reminds us that it's okay to be broken before God. It teaches us that true faith does not pretend everything is fine. It runs to God in the storm. It teaches us that we can pray while we weep, and that God hears us even in silence. This psalm is not just a lament, it is a blueprint for intimacy with God during our darkest moments. So if you're in a season of waiting, sorrow, or uncertainty, let this psalm be your guide. Pour out your heart, cry your tears, but don't stop believing. The Lord hears you, He accepts your prayer, and His unfailing love will carry you through.